You are sitting in an empty room. The house is completely quiet. The doors are securely locked. And for absolutely no reason at all, you suddenly feel like someone is standing right behind you. You don't turn around immediately, because logically, you know that would be crazy. But the feeling is undeniably there. A heavy, invisible presence pressing against the back of your neck. The air feels slightly thicker. Why does your brain do that? When you are finally completely alone, separated from the noise and demands of the outside world, your mind doesn't just shut down and rest. Instead, it boots up into a completely different operating system. It starts running strange background processes. It creates phantom sounds out of thin air, makes you rehearse angry arguments that will never happen, and forces you to remember deeply awkward things you thought you had forgotten. Being alone changes the way you process reality. Let's look at the bizarre, unsettling, and strangely beautiful things your brain does when there is no one else around. First, there is that feeling of a phantom presence in an empty house. This isn't just paranoia, and you aren't going crazy. It is a deeply wired evolutionary survival mechanism called hyperactive agency detection. Basically, your brain is a flawless pattern recognition machine built to keep you alive. For millions of years, if your ancestors heard a rustle in the bushes and assumed it was a predator, they survived. The ones who assumed it was just the wind didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. Because of this, your brain is hardwired to overpredict presence. When you are alone in a quiet house, your brain loses the usual stream of sensory input it gets from being around people. So it turns its sensitivity dial all the way up. A settling floorboard, the hum of the refrigerator changing pitch, or a shadow moving in your peripheral vision is instantly flagged as an agent, a living thing with intent. Your mind would much rather hallucinate a ghost in your living room than risk missing a real threat. Have you ever been completely alone and felt that sudden, undeniable weight of someone watching you in the room? What did you do to shake the feeling? Drop a comment below, because it happens to almost everyone, even if we rarely admit it out loud. Then, there is the legendary shower argument. You are standing under the hot water, staring blankly at the tiles, and suddenly you are delivering a masterclass in debate. You are completely destroying an opponent in an argument that either happened 3 years ago or will literally never happen in the future. You are hitting them with perfect comebacks that you never actually thought of in the moment. Why do we do this? When you're alone, your brain enters what neuroscientists call the default mode network. This is the brain's idling state. When it doesn't have an immediate, complex task to focus on, it defaults to simulating social reality. Your brain is essentially running a fire drill for your social life. It wants to protect you from future embarrassment, conflict, or failure, so it forces you to rehearse high-stakes situations. It's not just daydreaming, it's an emotional survival tactic. You are stress testing your own social armor in the safety of your bathroom. But while the shower argument is usually focused on the future, there is another glitch that is entirely obsessed with the past. The midnight replay. You are lying in bed, trying to sleep, and your brain decides this is the perfect time to review a minor social mistake you made 5 years ago. You said you too when the movie theater ticket agent told you to enjoy the film. It wasn't a big deal then, and it certainly doesn't matter now, but your brain forces you to feel the exact same sharp sting of embarrassment as if it just happened 5 seconds ago. This is called rumination. When you are alone and trying to wind down, your brain's executive function, the logical part that keeps your thoughts organized and focused, goes offline to rest. Without it, the emotional center of your brain, the amygdala, takes the wheel. It digs through your mental archives looking for unresolved emotional loops. It isn't trying to torture you, it is genuinely trying to learn from past mistakes so you don't repeat them. But because the amygdala doesn't understand the concept of time, it treats a 5-year-old awkward interaction like an immediate, pressing threat. If you have ever lost an hour of sleep because your brain decided to aggressively remind you of something awkward you said in high school, hit the like button. It is strangely comforting to know that our brains are all playing the exact same cruel tricks on us. And then there are the sounds. Have you ever been lying in bed, the house is dead silent, and you swear you hear someone call your name, or you hear your phone vibrate, but you check and the screen is totally blank? This is called audio pareidolia. When you are alone in a quiet environment, the auditory cortex in your brain actually gets bored. It is used to a constant heavy stream of information. When it doesn't get it, it starts searching the white noise, the hum of the AC, the wind outside, the pipes in the wall, and it tries to build a recognizable pattern out of it. And what is the most recognizable auditory pattern your brain knows? The sound of your own name. It literally manufactures the sound out of static just to give itself something to process. There is another strange glitch that only happens in deep isolation. You will be staring at a completely normal object, a coffee mug, the palm of your own hand, or a word on a page, and suddenly it feels entirely unfamiliar. It is as if you are seeing it for the very first time in your life. You know what it is logically, but the feeling of recognition completely drops out. This is called jamais vu. It is the exact opposite of déjà vu. Instead of a new situation feeling mysteriously familiar, a completely familiar situation suddenly feels deeply alien. When you stare at something for too long or repeat a word too many times in your head, the neural pathway gets fatigued. The connection between perception and meaning temporarily unplugs. For a few brief seconds, you get to experience the world exactly as a newborn baby does, as a collection of meaningless shapes and colors. It is beautiful, but profoundly unsettling. This brings us to one of the most intense and misunderstood things your brain does when you are alone. The call of the void. You are standing on a balcony, looking down over the edge, and a sudden, terrifying thought flashes through your mind. What if I just jumped? You don't want to do it. You have absolutely no intention of doing it. But the urge is there, loud and clear. Or maybe you are driving alone on a quiet highway and your hands briefly consider just turning the wheel into oncoming traffic. Psychologists call this the high place phenomenon. It feels like a dark, self-destructive urge, but it is actually the exact opposite. It is your brain's survival instinct misfiring. Your subconscious registers a massive lethal threat, a deadly drop, a speeding car, and it sends a massive alarm signal to your conscious mind. But because the alarm happens before you even consciously realize the danger, your brain misinterprets the signal. It thinks, I must have wanted to jump, otherwise why would I be feeling so terrified right now? It isn't a wish to fall, it is just your brain aggressively reminding you to step back and stay alive. The call of the void is one of the most common, yet least talked about human experiences. If you have experienced this strange intrusive thought while standing somewhere high or driving alone, share your experience down below. Let's normalize talking about the weird things our survival instincts do to us in the dark. As the night gets later, the nature of these solitary glitches changes. The distractions of the day fade away. The emails, the chores, the social obligations, they all disappear into the dark. And when the noise stops, the big questions rush in. You are lying in bed, and suddenly the reality of your own existence hits you like a physical weight in your chest. The fact that you are a conscious being, trapped in a timeline that only moves forward, hurtling toward an inevitable end. This isn't just regular anxiety, it is mortality salience. During the day, your brain builds a psychological buffer. A comfortable illusion of permanence and routine so you can function in society. But when you are alone in the dark, that buffer dissolves completely. You are forced to confront the raw, unfiltered reality of being alive. It is a heavy feeling, yes, but it is also the only time we are completely, brutally honest with ourselves. If you appreciate exploring these deep, hidden corners of human psychology, and you want to understand the glitches of your own mind, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We break down these unexplained feelings in every single video, so you never have to feel like you are the only one experiencing them. Being alone is not just an absence of people. It is an entirely different state of consciousness. When you remove the external world, your brain doesn't just rest. It turns inward. It tests its defenses, it searches for threats in the silence, it rehearses for battles that will never come, and it strips away the illusions that get us through the day. The next time you are sitting in an empty room and you hear a sound that isn't there, or you find yourself arguing with a ghost in the shower, don't panic. You aren't losing your grip on reality. You are just experiencing the incredible, hyper-vigilant, bizarre machinery of your own mind, running its lonely diagnostic tests in the dark. You are never truly alone, because your brain is always keeping you company.